What's up, aliens? AHEE here with another tutorial.
So I'm a little reluctant to share this bit of information because I know several producers, maybe you, will misinterpret what I say and maybe overuse this technique and make your song messier than it needs to be. Okay, so basically it's going to sound stupid, but like the big secret is clipping into the Ableton master, just like redlining that right into there. And I know that sounds really stupid, and that's exactly what everyone tells you not to do throughout all music production courses. But if you stick around, by the end of this video, I think you'll have an understanding of why it could be useful in specific use contexts. And you'll actually be like, wow, I can actually hear the difference. This does sound better. So stick around for that. First, I'd say this advice does not work in most genres of music. You probably wouldn't want excessive digital clipping in like your chill out down tempo tunes. But if you make heavy dubstep or drum and bass, like the examples I'm going to show you, you might want to stick around and see what's possible and why this actually makes sense. I'm going to show you the waveforms, and it's going to blow your mind.
Also, I'd say this technique requires having trained ears and good monitors, because otherwise, if you don't know what you're listening for when you're listening for unpleasant distortion, it's going to be hard to tell what's going on. And if you don't have good monitors to actually accurately reflect what's going on in the mix, that's going to be difficult to tell as well.
Also, mixing this way can be dangerous to your ears and sometimes even your gear if you're not careful. So I tend to mix at lower volumes when I'm trying this technique out. I'm not joking when I say that this technique is dangerous, you know. It sounds silly when I do say it, but like, you know, now you understand why.
Quickly, I want to mention that my Ableton Racks Volume 5 just released, and I'm going to be selling it on my Gumroad. I'll provide a link below, and I'll show you all some examples later. I'm actually going to give away one version of the Ableton Racks Volume 5 for free to somebody that comments below, hits the like button, and hits subscribe. And I'll choose someone at random in a week from now.
So first off, I really want y'all to understand what's actually going on when you're clipping something. So to just demonstrate that here, I've got just a simple bass sine wave, and I've got the saturator set to digital clipping, and I'm just going to turn up the gain, and let's watch how this waveform changes and how it affects the spectrum. So as I turn up the gain, you can see it's getting louder, and then right about there you can see that it's starting to squarify. It's like turning more into a square wave than a sine wave, and it's adding harmonic content. So it's no longer that, and because of that squarifying, it's essentially adding harmonics. And that's why when we clip something, it's perceived as louder, because that distortion is adding harmonic content. Now, that added content can be unpleasant and unwanted, or it can be artistically chosen, and that's sort of where we're going at for this. All right, so I actually wanted to show y'all an example of like what I mean by clipping safely inside Ableton. So this is a remix I'm doing for Reaper. It's going to come out later this year, and I'll just play a bit of it, and you'll notice down here, look how crazy this goes. It sounds good, doesn't it? It doesn't sound bad. I sent this to a couple of my friends. Played this out at Electric Forest. They said it sounded money on those big systems, so they say it's good. You know, I trust that it's gonna sound pretty good. I played it out at a festival here in California, Still Dream. It sounded amazing there. So, I mean, this is the thing about art, is that if it sounds good, it is good. In this case, I think it works really well. But I want to show you why it happens to work well in this case. So I've tried it with a limiter on here, and I tried it with the clipper on here as well. And I'm going to render these out, and I'm going to show y'all the differences, because I found some secrets in the waveforms themselves. It actually like shows you the difference, and we're going to take a look at that here in a second. But real quick, I also wanted to mention that I do have this automation of the limiter on here because I noticed that at the beginning of the song, there was some clipping that was unpleasant. There was just a little bit of crackle during the parts of the reverb there. I don't think the reverb interacted well with that kind of clipping, so just throwing this on there. Kept it nice and smooth, and also in an interesting way, it also brings down the volume considerably, and so when I turn it off right for the drop, it's like it boosts up in volume again, and it's just that volume difference again psychoacoustically I think adds to the song as well. So let's take a listen to those renders. So here we've got 3 versions of the same track. The first render, I'm using the FabFilter Pro L2. The second one, I'm using that Clipper plugin. And then the third one, I'm just letting it redline into Ableton. So let's give a listen to each one of these. So first, let's give a listen to the limiter. Sounds great. It's a little crunchy, but also it's still sounding good. Significantly louder. Look at that, it goes off the charts there. What I'm noticing, and this is the secret, is that when we zoom into these waveforms, here, check this out. This is some like scientific secret sauce. So it's this sound right here. Here you can see this version is limited, this version is clipped, this version is redlining. So what we're seeing here essentially is that the clipped version, it's clipping all right, and you can see these tiny little bumps there, but you know, that's it's pretty much a square, you know, like we talked about earlier, the squarifying of the sound. With the limiter here, it does not squarify the sound, you know, it's trying to retain those dynamics. But then here with the redline version, you can see it's almost doing a little bit of both. You know, it's definitely clipping, you know, it's turning into the squares here and there, but look, it's actually retaining more dynamics than the clipped version. And when I saw this, my mind just went like, I was like, what does this mean? Why is this happening? And I was like, that's why it sounds better, is because it's still allowing some of those dynamics to get through, because not everything is being pushed up into the limiter. And it's just like, it's interacting, like redlining it into Ableton, it's just interacting in a slightly different way than it would be with the Clipper. Again, we can see that right here. This is a little bit more jumbled. But again, here's the clipped version, you know, very squarey and blocky. Here's the limited version, you know, no squares, maybe a tiny bit there, but not so much. And then here, it's got some squares, but it's also keeping those dynamics. It's just, it's mind-blowing to me that, like, I mean, that's what's happening. And here, we can actually hear a difference in them too. That's the redlining. That's the clipped. It's very similar, but there is a difference. There's a difference, and that subtle difference, I think, makes the difference. Clipping in general tends to work better when there's fewer elements, because that means that there's less stuff fighting. All right, so I want to talk a little bit like, how did I actually achieve this? And like I was just saying about having minimal elements, that's essentially how I achieved it with this. So it's essentially, in the project, all it is the drum and the bass happening at the same time. And then here, the vocals are happening at the same time as this bass. But I did notice that in the spectrum of this bass, the vocals actually help fill it in and make it a full spectrum sound. So if we were to just solo out the bass, see. See how it's a full spectrum sound? It's taking up a little bit of everything in the spectrum. And the bass in this section right here, if we were to look at it, see how it's got some of these gaps in here, and it's got all this gap up here in the top end? Well, if we combine that with the vocal, we'll see it fills it out nicely. See, now it's a full spectrum sound. And so by combining these two elements, we've now completed a full sound. But then here, the drums, they're so transient that, you know, they're able to punch through this individual sound. And I think that's how this is able to work at all. Because I think if I had like multiple basses going on at the same time, it wouldn't work. What are the drum levels at? The drum levels, yeah, look at that. So yeah, they're going up to 7 and a little bit up there to 10 dB plus. And now here on the basses, so it's really only those hits that are actually going above the threshold, while the main bass is actually sitting there right at 0. It's pretty interesting. And yes, they are being sidechained as well. So I think that helps clear up some space too.
So once again, I just want to say, I know that this technique is like the opposite of like what you're supposed to do, but like Pensado said, it's art, you know, you go with what sounds good. And I hope I don't regret sharing this information. I just hope people don't just like overuse this technique and then all of a sudden the whole scene of bass music producers is like making just like all this like overly clipping and distorted mixes. If you're a new producer, I definitely recommend my whole bus mastering technique, which I still use in a lot of my songs still, which you can check out the videos here. I really recommend the bus mastering like Skrillex explained, gain staging like Skrillex, or the routing like a pro in Ableton videos. All those sort of cover this idea of like how to use my templates and how to use how to push into the limiters, because you could still see the limiters get a great sound, you know. It depends on what you're going for. And I think for a lot of like non-hyper aggressive music, you know, those things can work a lot better. Also, I'd say as a producer, maybe try exploring like how to mix these things, you know, like maybe there's a way to like clip some things, limit other things, maybe have different buses, you know, for these different types of attributes. You know, explore, invent, you know, there's still so much more potential in electronic music that we just haven't explored yet. And so I don't want to tell y'all what's right, what's wrong. I'm just in here encouraging y'all to explore and just telling y'all my personal experience from my own explorations.
Speaking of new things, I want to show y'all a little bit of my new Ableton Racks. So check this out here. I've got this breakbeat. And one of my favorite racks from this is the metal tonality. Check out what you can do. You can just add these like metallic textures, and it's got all these different presets. And it's also really great to add on like really crazy basses, like machine gun basses, or just like add it on just the snare to get like a more realistic metallic ring out of it. Then there's also the bass cream flavors, which here's just like a sine wave, that low sine wave. Toss this on, and it's just got all these variations. It's so gnarly. And then you combine that with the ultra chorus. There's so many cool options in here. Now another new thing is the spectral blur, and this one, like, it uses all the new spectral functions in Ableton 11. And check out this sound. So here's that break again. Now here it is with the spectral blur. can also work really well on like these rave stabs. Check it out. It just puts it in a whole new place. Oh my God, that one's so cool. Also here is the rise, fall, and flutter. So here I've got this little vocal buildup. And what you can do is just automate one of these down here from the rise, fall, and flutter. So as it goes or just any of these. It's just like quick access to a bunch of different styles of risers. Also, there's a bunch of fade effects here using the wash, fade, and echo. So here on the break. These are really great for intros. Got a low fade, mid fade, high fade, or you can reverb washout. It's almost like Bass Clef's Easy Washout, but with like way more options. Anyways, I'm going to provide a link below in the description of where y'all can go get it from my Gumroad page. And once again, I want to mention that I'm going to give away one free version of the Ableton Racks Volume 5 to somebody that comments below, gives a like to the video, and hits subscribe. And I'll be picking that random winner next week. All right, so I will see you aliens in the future. Please don't overuse the technique. Please use it responsibly. I trust y'all. This is why I'm doing this, and I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and much love. Peace, aliens.